Julius Randle remains out for the New York Knicks, still dealing with that dislocated shoulder. However, according to recent reports, Randle is not only hitting his milestones, he's actually taken an important step in his road to recovery for the New York Knicks and getting back on the floor. We're going to break down this latest Julius Randle injury update and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Julius Randle takes an important next step on his road to recovery for the New York Knicks. Randle has been out for the Knicks for several weeks now, still dealing with that dislocated shoulder. And honestly, the Knicks have missed him because during that stretch, the Knicks have lost a lot of games they could have won if Randle was in the rotation. But thankfully, after a report yesterday from Fred Katz of The Athletic, we now have a little bit more hope that Randle could be returning for the Knicks sooner rather than later. According to Fred Katz of The Athletic, he states the following. Tom Thibodeau said Julius Randle has started to take light contact, but nothing with the player yet in practice, just doing work with pads. Katz also continued and stated the following. Randle worked up a serious sweat in his pregame warm-up today. Nothing physical, just ball handling and shooting drills, but he was for sure going full speed. Shout out to Fred Katz from The Athletic for giving us these updates about Julius Randle and where he currently is on his road to recovery. But you know we couldn't stop there. We had to look into this just a little bit further, and thanks to Steph Bondy, another NBA insider, we got more information about Julius Randle and a couple of other injured Knicks players. Let's take a look at those reports as well, too. According to Bondy, Anunoby and Randle, who have been cleared for basketball activities, are closer to returning than Robinson, who underwent ankle surgery in December and was wearing street clothes during the morning shoot-around. Tom Thibodeau stated the following about Randle and where he is on his road to recovery. I think we're hopeful he'll be fine, but you want to make sure that medically the doctors feel good about it. He feels good about it, and he's doing just about everything. He's taken some light contact, but nothing with the player yet. So that's going to be the next step. So the next step for Julius Randle is going to be player contact. It might be one-on-one drills, but you know what? One-on-one, after that comes 2-on-2, then 3-on-3, and then it turns into a full practice, and then he comes back on the court. That's where Randle is right now on his road to recovery for the New York Knicks. This is such great news, and he's recovering exactly where you want him to, hitting all of his milestones, doing exactly what you need him to do. And according to Tom Thibodeau, he can do basically everything you need him to do without taking contact right now. That's basically what he's been doing. And if you've been watching him on the court before the games, he has been working up a sweat like Fred Katz of The Athletic just basically mentioned. He's doing everything, taking shots. In my opinion, he looks ready to come back on the floor for the Knicks right now. That's how good he's looked during these pregame workouts before these Knicks games. He has just looked phenomenal, and he doesn't look like he's favoring anything, favoring that shoulder. I will say something, though. He is working on his jump shots a lot more than I've ever seen him do before any other game. Now, maybe that's just to help him get into more rhythm, work on his shooting range, his shooting motion, and maybe that's just part of the rehab he has to do with that shoulder injury. So I'm not going to pretend I understand why he's doing those drills, but I will say one thing. The one aspect of Randle that I'm worried about when he comes back is if he's going to be that same bully ball Randle. Is he going to have that same type of impact? Is he going to still play with that same type of play style that we saw early on this season? Honestly, that's the biggest worry for me, because if he has to change it due to this injury, it might hurt the Knicks more than it might help him. But having a three-time All-Star on the floor for you is going to help you just a little bit more than it's going to hurt you. But it also depends on how that All-Star performs once he's on the court. Is he going to hesitate? Is he going to be fearful of taking contact? Once he takes contact, how is he going to act? How is he going to respond? And here's one thing that a lot of people are not talking about. If you're playing against me and I have an injury that you know about, as a player, aren't you going to try to take it to me, hit that shoulder just a little bit here and there when you're driving to the basket and you see I'm on you? I think a lot of NBA players are going to do that and take advantage of Randle for that particular situation, for that injury. And if that happens, Randle might go down again for another significant period of time. And the Knicks are not going to be able to handle that. They can't. Just a reminder for everybody watching, we just lost Jalen Brunson last night to a knee contusion. Honestly, we don't know how bad it is. We're all hopeful because all of the doctors that we heard about who watched the injury basically stated that it looks hopeful. It looked like nothing too serious, and he should be back sooner rather than later. But I want to wait for the official update from the doctors for the New York Knicks before I get hopeful and happy about the situation with Jalen. But that's one injury you got to think about. Then you got OG Anunoby and his injury. Mitchell Robinson, his injury. The limited minutes that Hartenstein is playing due to his sore Achilles. So we have to look at that. Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo, both at certain points in the game last night, were limping. So that's something to think about. And on top of all of that, you add three-time All-Star Julius Randle on that injury list. The Knicks have just been bitten by this injury bug so hard, and this bug is not letting go for some reason because each and every night we're dealing with something else, and I have to hesitate or gasp or worry for the next game because I don't know who we're going to have for a game-to-game basis. I don't know who's going to be out because some games we have Jalen, sometimes he's out. Sometimes Hartenstein is playing, sometimes he's not. And sometimes when you're going into a game and you don't know who you're starting, who's going to come off of your bench, how many minutes you're going to play, it might disrupt what you're trying to do, your flow, and your focus headed into that game. And honestly, that hurts the Knicks on a different level. We need to make sure we get healthy as soon as possible so that way we can use our depth because honestly, that's what makes us dangerous. But we can't show that danger because we're still dealing with all of the injuries. And each and every game, it's like we deal with another injury. Julius Randle has to come back. We need his impact. We need his scoring. And honestly, we need that rebounding again as well, too. Even though without him, we've been doing a good job because Josh Hart has just been unlocked. Demon on the boards, especially last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But Julius Randle will help with that as well, too. He'll take pressure off all of our guys. He'll help get guys more open, especially if he's playing bully ball Randle style of play, if he's not changing his game. But honestly, guys, even if Julius Randle can't be 100% bully ball Randle and he has to alter his game just a little bit, not a lot, hopefully, but just a little bit, I'll take it. Because having a three-time All-Star out there with you, with all of your players, is going to help some of your players get better, help them get more wide-open shots, and that's just going to help the Knicks float a little bit better until we can get all of our players back and be fully healthy. Because that's the goal at the end of the day. Get fully healthy, build chemistry, and go into the playoffs as a strong contender, which we absolutely will be once we are fully healthy. We just have to get there. But getting there just seems like such a chore, such a task, because each and every time we reach another milestone, we get hit back with something else. That something else last night was Jalen Brunson. Even though the injury could have been much worse, and it looks like Jalen Brunson has dodged the bullet, we don't know his exact time frame from coming back. Jalen, do not come back early. Return once you're fully healthy, and you're sure you're not going to risk any injury once you step back on that floor. You are too important to this Knicks team to come back early and risk injury. Julius Randle, I'm talking to you too. While I am happy you are working up a sweat pregame, you are hitting all of your milestones, and you're about to take contact with different players, and I'm happy to hear that. Do not rush back. Take your time. Make sure you are as healthy as you can possibly be before you come back for this Knicks team. Because if you do that, then that means you can potentially stay on the floor long enough for this Knicks team to protect you until we get more players back. Because once we get OG Anunoby back and Mitchell Robinson back, those guys will be in the paint. Those guys will get rebounds. Those guys will take the contact, and you will be able to stay away from the paint, not have to take as much contact, and hopefully play your game with a little bit more ease. At this point, that's all we can hope for, so you can get a little bit more healthy as we head into the playoffs. Now, I'm not hoping for this, but let's say the New York Knicks get bounced out early in the playoffs. I think at that point in time, Randle would schedule surgery the next day and try to recover as soon as possible so he would be ready for training camp next year for the New York Knicks. Because absolutely, I think that's what Randle and his camp is planning to do. But Randle is looking like he's coming back very soon. His return seems imminent, and the New York Knicks need him back. Without question, we need Randle back. especially after we just lost Jalen Brunson. Please, Jalen, I hope it's nothing serious. Come back soon. Randle, I'm looking at you. Come back when you're fully healthy. And once you're back, I hope you can continue to dominate like you were doing before. But what about you guys? What do you think about this Julius Randle update and the fact that his next step in his road to recovery is taking contact on one-on-one drills? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.